Everybody, please take a seat. Everybody, please take a seat. Everybody, please take a seat. It sounds like it's on. I guess I'll do it without it.
7712.
Please take a seat. Is this working any better? Okay. Thank you all for being here. As our president said yesterday morning, this is a man who needs no introduction. But as he said when he gave his presentation, he hates me because he doesn't like insurance agents. He's a top-of-the-table qualified for over 20 years, but he hates insurance meetings, so I don't know why he's here. And apparently he doesn't like himself very much. However, he's a great friend. He's a motivating and spellbinding speaker. He's funny, he's wise, he's helpful, and for the next hour, he's yours. Fellow NAFR members, Van Mueller.
Can you turn that off? Thank you all for coming. I know that at 3:45 we go do the business of our association and we elect new people to help run our organization. I just watched Greg Gagne do his session, and one of the things, this is really, really important. I think the biggest problem most of us have in the insurance industry is getting in front of somebody. Yes, raise your hand. And once you get in there, how can you inspire them? Now you're going to hear me say inspire, not motivate. If you look up the definition of motivation in the dictionary, motivation comes from within. Inspiration comes from without. You inspire people to take action. Okay? So everything you do is about inspiration. So I'm not going to do a big old speech here today. I want to really get to the reason I think people come to NAFA, the reason I think people come to MDRT, the reason I come is because I want to learn how to get in front of more people. Yes or no? Yes. And I want to make more damn money. Yes. And I want to help people. Yes. Okay, fair enough? Say it, I can't hear you. I'm not, yes. I'd just as soon go home. So please, you don't get to sit here for an hour. I'm going to be all over you because we got to do this fast. I have an hour. I'm going to try and point you in the right direction. Now, one other quick thing, because you're going to race out of here afterwards. Those of you who know me, I have brand new CDs, one for life insurance, one for annuities. They're the best things I've ever done. And then there's a third one. It's the green one in the packet. The blue one on the top is the two new ones. And the green one in the packet is all of these elevator talks that I'm about to show you. Tons of them. I work on these all the time. I'm going to show you how you can, this is really important. Jim will verify this for you. He knows it's the absolute truth. Do you know how much expense I have as an insurance agent? Zero. I don't pay for my assistants. I get a marketing allowance from the insurance company that I work for. I don't pay anything to get leads. I run 30 to 50 appointments a week. Every cent I make is my money. Anybody would like a career like that? Yep. Anybody? Yep. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to learn to ask great questions. The thing that saved my career was I used to, and please, this is really important. I used to be such a crappy speaker. I'm still not so good, but I'm getting better. No, and it's not fake humility. I tried to show you guys how smart I was. So I'd lay on all of these statistics and information and all this stuff. And at the end, people would go up to me and they'd call me on the phone 2 weeks later. I'm not kidding. They'd say, Van, I went out to their house. I told them everything you did, and I got them all worked up. Now what do I do? That was not the intent. I am not a doom and gloomer. I believe we are on the cusp of a transitional period that will be magnificently difficult. And when we get done with the transition, I believe we will see the next 40-year bull market for the entire world. But I don't believe that bull market will happen until 2022 to 2026. I think we're in for a real ride here, guys. If you think 2007 and 8 was the crash is still coming. There's issue upon issue upon issue. We have serious, serious problems that we as a country and we as a world have to face. I'm only going to spend maybe 3 minutes on it, 3. And I could literally talk to you for 20 hours about how difficult what we have to deal with is going to happen. Now, I'm going to tell you another thing that's going to scare you. I'm hoping and praying that it's going to happen because the American people are funny people. We don't seem to ever want to respond to anything until there's a crisis. When there's a crisis, we'll fix it. I don't think there's any end of the world scenario here. There's no doom and gloom. We're going to fix it. But you know what? You guys happen to be in the right place at the right time. You have the exact right products. Anybody in here who doesn't think you have the best products ever in the history of our business, then you need to go back and take another look. We have the finest products we've ever had. So you have the ability to serve people. You have the ability to take care of them. All you got to do is ask them the right questions. So please understand, Social Security is a mess. Medicare is a mess. The Affordable Care Act is the biggest lie on 2 legs. I don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat. Here's the word. Anybody in here sell health insurance? Raise your hands real high. It's cost shifting. Ever heard that word before? That's what it is. They're shifting the cost from one group of payers to a different group of payers. That doesn't fix health care. I'm going to read you a sentence. Out of $17 trillion of GDP in our country, the Institute of Medicine just did a study, and they said $750 billion a year of health care is waste and fraud. $750 billion. How do I know from that sentence that we will never fix health care? Just from that sentence. Ready? What is the incentive of the people getting the $750 billion to fix it? None. It's not going to be fixed. So if you don't do your jobs, if you don't do what you're supposed to, then you're going to leave a lot of people in really, really serious jeopardy. Social Security, everybody's going to get it. Here's how they're going to do it. They're going to print the money. They're going to print it, and they're going to say, baby, you're getting your Social Security. We don't care if it doesn't buy anything, but you're getting it. It's coming, guys. We have kids. Want to know what's going to happen in the housing market? Going to crash off the map. I just did a speech with Professor Robert Schiller. He says, housing will crash and it will take 50 years for it to recover. 50. House has never been a good investment, ever. In the 21st century, cash is king, and you sell the greatest cash equivalent products in the history of the world. And you got to go home saying that and knowing that and feeling that. It's just not going to be okay. Here's how I know that housing won't recover for a long time. We have a whole bunch of kids coming out of college right now. And right now they're $1.1 trillion in debt already, and that's going up. Who used to buy all the starter houses when they came out of college? Well, if they don't buy the starter houses, do the people in the starter houses get to move up to the next level of houses? Want to hear another one? 20% of all the houses with mortgages on them in the United States right now have no equity in them, none. And there's 20% more that if they took out the closing costs and took out all the fees to sell the house, they would have no equity. That's 40% of all the houses with mortgages in the United States, no equity. What do you think is going to happen when there's another downturn? Guys, you want to say bad? You don't even know how to spell bad. Do you understand? It's coming. And if you believe any of the stuff that you're being told, then you don't understand the math. I sit and watch these debates going on with government. Here, I'll give you a fun one. Where I live in Milwaukee right now, we're getting our first Nordstrom. I live at Nordstrom. They're building another Costco. They're building a Von Maur as a hub of one of our places. They're building. Everybody says, man, if everything is so bad, why are they building? Wouldn't that be a great question? Doesn't it seem like if everybody's building, everything's good? Will you do me a favor? I don't have time, so don't screw around with me. If you could borrow money at 0% interest, how much would you borrow? Much as you could lay your freaking hands on. And that's what they're doing. They borrow at 0% interest. They borrow 100% of the money. What do they have at risk if it doesn't turn out? Zero. In fact, you could actually argue that as management teams, they would be making serious mistakes if they didn't take advantage of this opportunity. What did they just do in Europe? They lowered the interest rate to what? 0.05%. 0.05%. This is everywhere. Everywhere. You're going to see a mess. Now, I made that sound, I did this yesterday. I want to do it again with you. Sounds really bad, doesn't it? Have there ever been bad times in the history of the world before, just yes or no? And during those bad times, were there people who made money? Was it the people who planned and prepared or the people who just winged it that were successful? Well, which one do you want to be and when do you want to get started? And by the way, the people with 70% of all the wealth in the richest country on the planet are the people over the age of 65, and most of them lived during the Great Depression, and they made 1% and 2% and 3%. You have to get this. You don't get rich by investing. You get rich by saving on a regular basis and keeping the money saved and then living within your means. Anybody care to disagree with me? 70% of the wealth in this country is in the hands of people over the age of 65. Now, you know what's really cool about what you guys do? You sell financial miracles. The first financial miracle, the miracle of compound interest. Everybody knows that. The miracle of tax-deferred compound interest. But here's the greatest miracle of all that you sell, and you don't even know it. It's a miracle of leveraging. You can go to every one of those seniors, every single one, and you can use leveraging. I'll show you. Here's your first sales idea. I told you I'm going to go fast. I'm going to shove every sales idea I can at you in the hour that I have. Get the CDs. There's 5 hours of stuff. This is what drives me crazy. This is why you see me stumbling all over my tongue. I want to share with you everything I have. I want you to go home and I want you to double or triple your appointments and double or triple your sales. Anybody want to do that? Then you have to try this stuff, and I can't get it all to you in an hour. I'm pointing you in the right direction. Here's the first sale. You won't believe it. Go home and ask everybody to see last couple of years' income tax returns. Look on the Schedule B. That's the part that shows the interest and dividends. Find out if they have any money in a money market account. I was just in a house. A woman had $400,000 in a money market account. How much interest did she make on that last year? $400. 0.1% interest. $400. Here's the sale. This is the whole sale. I said to her, ma'am, what if I took every cent out of that money market, I took it out of that pocket and I put it over in the right pocket? It would earn the same interest, but if all of a sudden you were to die too soon, your family would get between $600,000 and $800,000 income tax free. Would you do it? They said, but that's not all there is. I said, what if you ended up in the nursing home instead of buying nursing home insurance? What if I could put a rider on that policy where I could also leverage that $400,000 where it would pay $600,000 or $800,000 of long-term care benefits? Would you do it? She said, yeah. I said, what's the best time to invest in the stock market? When it's high or when it's low? When it's low, you said. When's that going to be exactly? Isn't that why people make all the mistakes that they make? Isn't that why? So here's what I said. Wouldn't it be great if you could be in a vehicle that would earn the same as the money market, would have guaranteed results if you died too soon, have guaranteed results if you ended up in a long-term care and needed help? And how much accessibility do you have a modified endowment contract? 100%. You can go take the money out anytime you want. How much is the charge on that? It's zero, nothing, guys. And before you give me a bunch of grief about, well, you'd have to pay taxes on it. Well, they're not making any money. There wouldn't be any taxes. So guess what? Stock market goes from here to here. You go and watch. I just did this sale. It was the funniest thing I ever said. I said, ma'am, we'll take $200,000 out of your modified endowment contract. And that's what I called it. And we'll take it and we'll go buy in the stock market. And if we buy way down here, is there a possibility we could make a lot of money fast? She said, yeah. I said, what if we made 50%? She said, that'd be fabulous. By the way, we did that in 2008. From March of 2009 to November of 2009, the Dow went from 6441 to 11,000 in 7 months. It's going to happen again. Don't you want to be in a position to take advantage of it? And you have the safest vehicles in which to do that. So watch what happened. I said to her, we'll make 50%. So you'll make an extra 100,000 on that 200,000. I said, what should we do? We'll pay the 200,000 back. I said, we'll have 100,000 left over. What should we do with that money? You know what she looked me in the face and said? Shouldn't we buy another life insurance policy? And it took that long. Now, I'm not done yet. Ma'am, if that's all there was, you should buy this right now. But that's not all there is. My plan doesn't have to go through probate. My plan is incontestable. Watch, I'll show you. One day, Mom, she has 2 boys. And the 2 boys, one boy goes off to New York City. Works for Tommy Hilfiger as a fashion designer. He's making $250,000 a year. He's dating 6'3" fashion models. He calls Mom every day. Oh, Mom, I love you so much. I'm having such a great life. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The other boy stays in Milwaukee. He works for Harnischfager. Makes $75,000 a year as a middle manager. A year goes by, and all of a sudden, Mom has a stroke. And Mom's whole right side goes numb. I do this in houses. Sometimes they have to come around and see if I've died. I'm not kidding. Let me show you the pain a little more. And Mom's whole right side goes numb. And the boy in Milwaukee has to take Mom for her doctor visits and has to take her for her therapy and has to take her grocery shopping and has to take her to get her hair done and has to take her to play cards with the girls. And every night, Mom cries herself to sleep because she knows she's wrecking her boy's life. But you know what? If she has a choice of going in the nursing home or wrecking her boy's life, guess what's going to happen? A year later, Mom passes. 2 boys are sitting in the attorney's office. Attorney reads the will. Oh, I forgot to tell you something. Mom changed the will. Boy in New York is doing fabulous. She wanted to make sure she thanked the boy in Milwaukee for disrupting his life. Gave him 80% of the money. Oh, something else I forgot to tell you. The boy in New York, the design that he put out for Tommy Hilfiger in the fall, it went right down the tubes. Unless he comes up with some money for a new design in the spring, he's going to lose this life he loves. And he's sitting in the lawyer's office and he hears that his brother's getting 80% of the money. What's he going to do? He's going to contest the will. Here's the question. Then who gets all the money? Tell them! They don't know. The thing that the guy that trained me taught me, he said, stop assuming that people know anything. They don't know. Don't assume. Ask them. Do you know? A named beneficiary on a life insurance or a annuity policy not only is incontestable except for fraud, it's also private. She doesn't want her 2 boys hating each other. They don't know unless they tell each other that they got a different amount of money. My plan also has control from the grave. I made another very big sale when I went and did the fact finder, and the father said to me, I'm scared to death when I die, my son-in-law, not his son, my son-in-law is going to buy a Lamborghini and blow everything I saved my whole life for. I looked at him and I said, didn't you know you can control the money from your grave? He said, what? I said, yeah, you can control the money from your grave. It's called a direction for settlement form. You fill it out and you say you want the money paid out on a monthly or annual basis for 10 or 15 or 20 years. He said, oh my God, I can do that? I said, yeah. He says, how much does that cost? I said, nothing. He said, how can it not cost anything? I said, because you get to keep the money. They don't know that. My plan is creditor protection. Life insurance is creditor protected in all but 2 states. If you want to find out for your state, just type in creditor protection for life insurance at Google or creditor protection for annuities at Google, and you'll find out what the values, what the benefits are for you in your state. And you're going to find out that in a lot of states, life insurance and annuities have better creditor protection in our state than their primary homes. Why? You want to shove a lot of money in your primary home, or do you want to shove a lot of money in a place where it's protected? Finally, my plan has Medicaid versatility. I can take a lump sum asset that's above the allowed amount, and I can transfer it to the community spouse, paid out in an income stream for their life expectancy or less, and the person that's the institutionalized spouse is immediately eligible for benefits from the government. That's a law. It's gone through 3 or 4 different tests in the court. It's allowed. Why aren't we taking advantage of all the things that we can do on behalf of our prospects and clients? I'm going to tell you something. I sell a mess of annuities every week. And here's what happens. I tell every one of my customers, ready? Will you help me? No. You know what the hottest product in America is right now? It's everybody. Bankers are buying it. Lawyers are buying it. Everybody's buying it. You know what it is? It's annuities. That's exactly right. But I'm not going to sell you one right now, I promise. Okay. That's what I say to them. I say, but will you do me a favor? When your CD comes due, I know they have a CD. I want you to call me because you're going to go in the bank and you're going to tell them you hate the interest rate that they're paying, and they're going to try and sell you an annuity. So will you do me a favor? When they do that, will you call me? What do you think they say? And they're going, dodged a bullet. Watch this. I get a couple of these every week. Person calls me up. They're almost giggling. Van, it was just like you said. I went up to the teller. I said I was really unhappy with the interest rate I was getting. The teller closed down, came around, and walked me arm in arm to a person at the desk, and they tried to sell me an annuity. I said, you didn't buy it yet, did you? And they said, no. I said, great, I'll be right over. I get there. The very first question I ask them is, I say, let me ask you something. What interest rate did they offer you? And they say something like 3, okay? Here's what I say. Mine pays 2.75, but mine doesn't have to go through probate. Mine is incontestable and private. Mine can be controlled from the grave. Mine has creditor protection, and mine has Medicaid versatility. So which one do you want? Do you want theirs that pays 3 or mine that pays 2.75 and does all those things? Which one do you think they take every time? Now, watch. This is so fun. I've been waiting the whole meeting to do this to you. You ready? You guys are all looking at me like this. Well, doesn't their annuity do that? Shake your head if that's what you're thinking. Ready? Ready? If the person selling it doesn't know it does it, it doesn't do it. That's why you're paid the big bucks. I get about halfway through the presentation. I take my glasses off and I go, oh, geez, what an idiot. They go, what? They're having a little bit of buyer's remorse. I go, what? They go, what's the matter? And I say, I'm sorry, you're not going to believe this. I actually have an annuity that'll pay 3.25 and does all of those things. They look at me every time. Oh, I think I can get another 5,000 or 10,000 for that. I almost fall out of my chair laughing. You have to understand, they don't buy interest rates. LIMRA has done study after study after study. And they ask the American people, what's the number one reason that you buy an annuity? What do you think the American people say? It's safety. What do you think number 2 is? Tax deferral. What do you think number 3 is? Lifetime income. What do you think number 4 is? Interest rate. Then they call on all of you guys and they say, what's the number one reason somebody buys an annuity? And you guys go, interest rate. I don't, believe it or not, in half the cases, I don't even have to tell them the interest rate. They don't care. They're buying all these other benefits. Wow, it goes so fast. Elevator talks. I get in front of people everywhere. I'm going to set this up by telling you this story. Both of my kids just passed law school. And I'm in New York City in middle of Times Square at midnight in May. 1,000 people in line to see Fast and Furious 6. And I hear a couple of people in front of us arguing. And I turned to my daughter, Vanessa, and I said, Vanessa, I can't help it. I got to go talk to those people. She says, okay, go ahead. I walk up, I say, hi, I'm Van Mueller. I'm an insurance and financial advisor. I'm licensed in New York City because my 2 kids live here. Do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions that I think would give some clarity to what you were talking about? I wasn't eavesdropping, but you could pretty much hear what you guys were talking about. She said, sure. Here's what I asked. I said, can I ask you something? Do you guys, answer me as a group, do you believe there's going to be another financial catastrophe like there was in 2007 and 8? Just yes or no? Yes. And you have to say the yes or no. Why? Because I don't want a big, long dissertation about it was because George Bush was the president or President Barack Obama was the president. I don't care about any of that. Do you think there's going to be one of those? Yes or no? They say yes. Here's the second question. Do you want to happen this time what happened the last time? What do you think they say? And do you know why I can get away with that question? Because 99% of the people in 2007 and 8 lost money. So based on the law of large numbers, I can ask that question and find out what I need to find out right away. Third, she said, no, we don't want to happen what happened the last time. I say, can I ask you something? When it happens again, what are you going to do to make sure it doesn't happen? And please, if you want to get angry at me, you can, but why do you keep using a strategy that you already know doesn't work? She said, boy, you were listening. That's exactly what we were arguing about. I said, what if I could show you a way that would guarantee that you'd never lose any money again? Can we do that? And better than that, see, you add another layer of benefit. Better than that, what if every time one of those things happened, I could actually show you how to take advantage of it? When would you want to know about it, before or after the next downturn? Before. Now, here's what I then closed with. I said, please, there's no cost or obligation for this. Learn that phrase. There's no cost or obligation. Do you know what they heard? He's not going to try and sell me anything. That's what they heard. There's no cost or obligation. I didn't tell them that. I just said I'm not charging them anything to share the information. If I buy you lunch tomorrow, can I share 5 or 6 questions with you that I think will give you and your husband perfect clarity how to go forward? What do you think she said? And I bought them lunch, and they're my clients. I sell people on airplanes. I sell people in bars. I sell people at dinner parties. In fact, for a while, I got stopped being invited to dinner parties because nobody would talk to anybody else. I was in a corner with a group of people around me, and I was just asking them all these questions. People love interesting questions. They want to know how to proceed. It's all I do all day. I spend my whole life thinking of great questions to ask people. And I steal, by the way, if you guys steal one idea from one of the people at this meeting, it's theft. But if you steal a whole bunch of ideas, it's research. And in any other industry, what we're doing here today is not allowed. This, in any other industry, is espionage. The greatest people in our industry are willing to share with you everything they have. If I could figure out how to do it, if I could figure out how to give you enough hours, all you got to do is ask me, and I will share everything that somebody has shared with me. I told you, and I wasn't kidding, when I come to the NAFA meeting, I'm almost stalking all of the NAFA presidents. I follow them around, tug at the hem of their garment. How were you able to produce the way you did while you were running our organization? Many of them make top of the table the first time that they've ever done it while they're the president of NAFA. It's astonishing. You know why? Because they believe in what they do. They believe with all their heart and soul. People don't buy what you say, they buy how you say it. Here's another good one. Will you help me, ma'am? Do you have enough confidence in your current advisor to get a second opinion?
Yes.
I'll see you tomorrow at 7. Now say no. Do you have enough confidence in your current advisor to get a second opinion?
No.
So you must have lost some money during the last downturn.
Absolutely.
How'd you like to know how to guarantee that it never would happen again if there was no cost or obligation to find out the information?
Be good.
I'll see you tomorrow at 7. Okay. Do you understand? There's no bad answer to a properly asked elevator question. I am 100 appointments behind. I have my appointment book on the stage over there. I'm 100 appointments behind right now. I can't see everybody I have to see, and I run 30 to 50 appointments every single week, and I pay nothing to get these appointments. By the way, one of the things Greg Gagne was talking about is referrals. Here's the worst information ever given in the history of the insurance industry. You do not get referrals by asking for them. If somebody ever tells you that again, walk up and slug them. It's the biggest lie in the insurance industry. How do you get referrals? Ready? Be referable. Ask them stuff that nobody else has ever asked them. You know what people say to me all the time? You're going to think it's bragging until I tell you the second part. They say, Van, oh my God, you're one of the smartest insurance agents I have ever met. Then you know what they say second? Nobody has ever asked me what you've asked me. Doesn't have anything to do with what I know. It has to do with what I ask. Do you want to know something? I have 6,600 clients. I swear to you on my kids, the lightning will hit me. Not one of my clients knows I'm top of the table and couldn't give a rip. Not one of my clients knows I was the advisor of the year for Senior Market Advisor magazine. Couldn't give a rip. They don't care about me. Who do they care about? They want a good outcome. They want to know that somebody's on their side and somebody's asking them the stuff that needs to be asked. Here's the only original elevator talk I've ever made. This is my own. I love to golf. And there's a place in Milwaukee called Curry Park. It's on Highway 100 and Capitol Drive. It's got 6 par 3s on it. I go at 5 in the morning. Who golfs at 5 in the morning, you guys? Old people. Tons of them. And I go there as a single, always as a single. And they hook me up with a twosome or a threesome. We get to the 3rd hole, which is a par 3. There's people on the green, they're putting. There's people on the tee waiting to hit, and we're sitting on the bench. And the poor schlub sitting next to me turns to me and says, so Van, what do you do for a living? This guy is toast. Hasn't got a clue. I have information I know will change you and your family's life forever, and I'm going to tell you something. If you don't know this information, you and your family are in serious, awful, terrible, don't know how to describe it to you, you're never going to recover, it's never going to be okay. Jeopardy. Now, do I really say it that way? This is a speech. I'm trying to keep you awake. But what I want you to see is, do you guys understand that I don't stutter or stammer? I practice. And I practice a lot. I practice in between appointments. I practice where I stumbled in the last appointment. I practice in the mirror. I practice. Because let me ask you something. You know how I'm able to mentor 500, 600, 700 agents at a time? It's so easy, it's unbelievable. Agents will call me on the phone and they'll say, Van, I'm really struggling. I say, well, give me some of your presentation. Here's what they do. Ready? I work for, we really want, and I go, stop. I say, boy, you got to be nervous because you're talking on the phone with me and you don't want to screw up. I get it. Let me ask you something. What's your favorite thing to do in the world? They say, well, I love to golf. I say, oh my God, how far do you hit an 8-iron? The guy goes, 152, and when I'm amped up, I can hit it 157 yards. I say, what's the best part of your game? Putting or chipping or hitting the driver? What's the best part? And man, they don't even take a breath. I say, here's the deal. The minute that you can talk about your profession the way you can talk about your hobby, then you're going to make it in our business. It's what all of us do wrong. All of us. We say we're professionals, but we don't practice what we do. Anyway, here's what the guy says. When I get done, he looks at me and he says, Van, what the hell are you talking about? What did you just give me permission to do? Tell him everything. So here's what I say. How many people in here golf? Raise your hands real quick. You'll know that I'm not lying when you hear the next. I turn to him and I say, man, I don't want to wreck your golf game any worse than it already is. See, you know. That's how you talk to each other in the golf course. I say, listen, here's the deal. Make an appointment with me for later in the week or next week. There's no cost or obligation. And here's the deal I'll make with you. When I'm finished, you will have such amazing information that you will walk me to my car and hold my car door open for me. Fair enough? I'm goofing around. I'm playing golf. I'm having a blast. I can't run all the appointments I have. I'm begging you. It's all on the CDs and DVDs. Here's the best one. I'm going to ask a woman on purpose. Don't screw around with me. I want your exact feeling. If you have a choice, you want to be rich or do you want an absolute positive guarantee that you'll never be poor? Which one? Never be poor. Stay there. You be the smart alecky guy. I want to be. Let me ask you something. If you got a choice, you want to be rich or you want an absolute positive guarantee you'll never be poor? What if I could show you how to do that faster than you could ever dream of? When would you want to get started?
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible. I got an appointment with him, don't I? I want to guarantee that you'll never be poor. What if I could show you a way that even if you completely ran out of money, you'd never run out of income? Would you want to know about something like that during these times? If there's no cost or obligation, would you spend 45 minutes to an hour with me and I'll show you how to do that? Let me ask you something. Do we sell products like that that guarantee lifetime income? Does America know we do? Not a clue. All you got to do is ask them, guys. That's all you got to do. Anybody still sell life insurance? Again, I want to understand. Lots of people watch me. I've had a dozen of you come up to me and say, well, you know, I sell annuities and mutual funds. Guys, I sell mutual funds. I sell critical illness insurance. I sell long-term care. I sell Medicare supplements. I even have a property and casualty license. I don't do it because I'm a lawsuit waiting to happen. You're supposed to laugh. That's a laugh line. But here's the deal. I sell everything. I'm a financial insurance and financial professional. I sell everything. It all fits. I know how to make it all work to take care of and serve my clients. So here's the question if you want to sell some life insurance. Find a young couple with kids and just look them in the face and say, can I ask you something? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's fair that when one parent dies and there's not enough money, that the children end up losing both their parents? And you know what? They're going to look at you like, wow, here's what they'll say, 90%. I really never even thought of it like that. Because they're not thinking about dying. I don't want to meet people that are thinking about dying. I actually run from them. Man, they actually shut down schools now because of that. That's not funny. No, but please, I'm rushing here. What I'm saying to you is that people don't sit and think about those things. Where I live in Wisconsin, people spend more money preparing for a Green Bay Packer game than they do their financial futures. I actually have on my cheese underpants right now. Do you understand that that's what they're thinking about? Who's going to be on Dancing with the Stars? What's my football team doing? And am I going to be able to have a job, put food on the table, have enough gas to get back and forth? That's what they're thinking about. You're paid the big bucks because you asked them what they also should be thinking about. Will I have enough income to live the rest of my life? So forth and so on. You're not going to believe it. There's 2 new ones and then I'm going to move on. But here's the thing. I saw an article. I'm going to show you exactly where I got it from. I saw this article. It said, and I read it, it said, many workers feel financial stress more than death. Okay? When I got done reading, here's the new elevator talk. I go up to every person I can and I say, you know what? I just read an article that said old people are more worried about running out of income than they are of dying. Is that true? And starts a great conversation. They're more worried about running out of income than they are of dying. All you got to do is ask them. They really want somebody who cares enough to take the time to ask those questions. There's a really great article, you guys. I can't find it because I'm actually counting the minutes here. Here's the great article. It just came out. You guys won't believe this. Brand new study. This is only a week old. It was in my last month's newsletter. Gotta listen to me. The study says in 10 years' time, 98% of people's Social Security check will go for healthcare costs. And in 20 years' time, 127% of their Social Security check will go for healthcare costs. 127%. What would be your next question? Will you help me, Maureen? Think of what, if you said that to somebody, what would you then ask them next? No, not fix it yet. You want to keep the pressure on them. See, you did it perfect. It's what agents do. I want to fix it. I want to sell you something. I want to give you something. I got a policy. I don't ever do that. I don't help them till they beg me to help them. The next question should be, can I ask you a dumb question? What are you going to do for food, clothing, and shelter? What's your life going to be like when every cent you have goes just to pay your health care costs? If there was something you could do about it right now, would you want to get started on it? And then they'll say, well, geez, what can I do? And I say, well, what are you going to do? And I stay after them until they say, man, I don't know what to do. I thought that's why you were here, to help me. What did they just ask me to do? I don't have to fight with them anymore. You guys go to the policy too quick. You go to the product too quick. You go to the solution too quick. Ask them questions. Be interested in them. Now, here's what happens when I get there. I'm going to show you. See this? It's on the CDs. It's called the 4 questions. I make a sale in 4 questions. I purposely waited till I'm running out of time. I have 20 exact minutes. That's what I got left. I have to finish on time because I want you to come up in droves and buy CDs, and then I want you to go and vote for whoever you want to vote for. Okay? But please listen to me. Here's what I do. I get to the house, and I say to the people, I don't want to waste any of your time, and I don't want you to waste any of my time. If it would be okay, may I ask you 4 questions? And when I'm done with these 4 questions, you will know whether I can be of any benefit to you, and I'll know whether I can serve you. Fair enough? What do you think they say? By the way, to set up this, I just made a sale, $800,000. Went to see the guy. He said, don't bother coming. 6 of you have already been here. I still don't know what the heck you people do. I said, if it's okay, I think I can show you what we do in 15 minutes. And if I can't, I'll pay you $100. He said, fair enough. Come on over. I got there. I did for him what I'm about to do with you. He said, that's the first time I ever knew what you people do for a living, and gave me $800,000. It took 10 minutes. Not kidding. People buy when they understand. They don't want you to show them all this gobbledygook that they don't understand anyway. To be honest with you, most of you don't understand it. I'm not being mean. I'm not being mean. We just don't. There's so many ins and outs and ups and downs and stuff about this. You have to inspire people to take action. Jonathan, I'm going to ask you the first question. Everybody, I'm running out of time, so no cute insurance agents. Got it? You're a customer. Here's the first question. And you always start with this because it is our competitive advantage. Do you think taxes are going to be higher in the future, Jonathan? Just yes or no? Think they could be way higher? Yeah. Want to pay them? We never ask them that. Do you want to pay them? We never ask them. We just assume that they don't want to pay taxes. You know what's wrong with assuming? 50% of America doesn't pay any income tax. Do you want to pay them? So what are you going to do to make sure that taxes don't hurt your investments and destroy your retirement? You got a strategy for that? What if I could show you how to use taxes to jet propel your money into the 21st century? Wouldn't you want to take advantage of that while you still can? And why did I say while you still can? Can I give you a little example? Pretend you're a farmer and I'm the Internal Revenue Service. It's February 1st, the ground is just thawing out. I knock on your door, you invite me into the kitchen, I sit down across the table from you and I look at you and I say, now you listen to me. I'm the Internal Revenue Service. You get one chance only. I'm going to ask you a question and that's how it's going to be the rest of your life. Got it? Do you want to pay taxes on the seeds or do you want to pay taxes on the crop that you reap from those seeds? Can I ask you a dumb question? How come you don't do that with your money? Sounds simple, doesn't it? Almost ridiculous simple. Ridiculous simple is what sells it. That's the first question. And by the way, tell me the truth, everybody. Did he buy? He bought already. I don't even have to ask him the second, third, fourth question. The only reason there's a second, third, fourth question is because some people don't pay any taxes. You have no idea how many agents I've taught to do this. I have 7,000 letters at home from agents who have doubled and tripled and quadrupled their production. I am begging you. I was the jerk idiot that for 16 years walked out of meetings like this. People told me how I could improve my career. And I got to my car and I went back and did it the way I did it until I finally lucked out and got fired. I'm begging you, go home and make a difference. The American people need you. This is not going to be fixed by politics. This is not going to be fixed by corporations, by unions. It's not going to be fixed by any of the institutions you understand. The only people that can fix what's about to happen in our country and even this world for that matter are sitting in this room. It is the greatest time ever to be an insurance agent. There's never been a time like this. Never. Please, I'm 63 years old. And I sit around with all the other old guys, and we sit around, here's what we do. We go, oh man, remember the good old days back when there was no market conduct, and there was no compliance, and you didn't need a 72-page illustration for a $20,000 whole life policy? I had a rate book card. The rate book card said this. I had a life paid up at 65. The cash value, I still know it to this day, was $720 per thousand of face amount at age 65. I know it by heart. Want to hear something, you guys? There is no good old days. Want to know why? Ready? I'm going to yell at you. They didn't have any money. It's the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of mankind, from the greatest savings generation that's ever lived to the worst savings generation that's ever lived. And your competition is not each other. Your competition is government. Your competition is nursing homes, and your competition is hospitals, and they're trying to get to that money before you and the families you take care of do, and you're the only people that can stop them. I got a question before I go one step further. Are you going to go home and make sure they don't get that money, yes or no? Yes. Oh, come on. Are you going to go home and make sure they don't get that money? Yes. That's what you do. And you go back with energy and enthusiasm to help and take care of the people that you serve. And here's how you're going to go back and make a whole bunch of appointments before I do the second, third, and fourth. You're going to go back home. You're going to call every single one of your existing clients. Everyone. And you're going to say, man, I was at this meeting and I saw this psycho speaker, Van Mueller. And say my name and tell them to Google it. Because when they Google it, it'll be like 3-4 pages of nothing but Google about Van Mueller. Google this, Google that, Google this, okay? That's what you want to do. And you say, scared the heck out of us. And when he was doing it, all I could think of is, you have been such a great client, and I at least owe you the benefit of asking you, are you going to be okay first? And are you going to be in position to take advantage of whatever happens second? Guys, think you could make some appointments? How much would it cost you? Think you could get some referrals? Know how you get referrals? I told you before. I wanted to know if you were listening. Thank you. Be referable. Ask the great questions. This is an amazing time to be an insurance and financial advisor. Listen to me. If anybody ever badmouths you again, you call me and I'll whisper sweet nothings in your ear. You're the most amazing people that have ever been. You're the most intelligent insurance agents that have ever walked the face of this planet. You have the best products. You deserve every cent of commission that you're paid. Do you understand? Every cent. Don't you ever doubt it again. If you have doubt, you call me. I'll fix you. There's no room for doubt. You have to go and take care of people. Second question. Mary, will you help me? He said he thinks taxes are going to be higher. Do you think benefits will be lower? Higher deductibles, higher premiums, more out of pocket? Does that mean a lower standard of living for you and your family?
Yes.
Are you okay with that?
No.
So what are you going to do to make sure that your family doesn't lose all those benefits and that you could actually increase your benefits going forward? What if there was a strategy for that? When would you want to know about it? Okay. Third question. If there's higher taxes and there's lower benefits, is that going to be enough to fix everything? Yes or no? So the government's probably going to have to print more what? Money, and that's called what? Inflation. Ben Bernanke, the guy that was printing all the money, you know what he called it in his speech? Have the article. He called it a stealth tax, the most insidious tax that a person on a fixed income will ever have to face because it destroys purchasing power. Can I give you an example? Do you know if you and your wife right now at 65 are living on $50,000 a year and we have just 7% inflation, not Zimbabwe inflation, not Argentina inflation, not even Jimmy Carter inflation. If we have just 7% inflation, do you know the rule of 72 says in 10 years you and your wife will need $100,000 a year of income to have the same standard of living you do right now at 50, or said a different way, your $50,000 will only buy $25,000 of goods and services. What are you going to do? Are you guys just going to die? Let me ask you another thing. What if it continues on for another 10 years after that, and now you need $200,000 to have the same standard of living you did when you started out at 50? What are you and your lovely wife going to do? What did he say? Rough shape. Oh, that's not what I heard. Rough shape, he said. I got it. That wasn't what I heard. Okay. Do you guys get this? It's very powerful. And I didn't use some outer space. And by the way, have we ever had a time like that, what we just described? Want to know from 1978 to 1990, the inflation rate never went below 7%? Ever. Are we printing a lot of money right now? Oh my God, could we eventually have some inflation if all of a sudden the velocity of that money picks up? And by the way, that's a Tom Hagna line. In order to have inflation, you don't just print the money, you also have the money have to have velocity. It has to be out in the system working. Are banks making loans to you people? No, it ain't happening. You're not eligible for any money. Only the big guys get money. Where's the only place you can get money without having to ask? Borrow money or loan? Your life insurance. Oh, baby. One of the greatest vehicles ever conceived of in the mind of a human being. Fourth question. If taxes are higher, benefits are lower, and the government's going to print more, what'd you say again? Print more what? And that's called what? See, I can make you say it 10 times. That's what I was trying to show you. Repetition. You know how you train husbands, children, and insurance agents? Repetition, repetition, repetition. So, doesn't that mean that we'll have more and more volatility? Aren't we experiencing that right now? And it's happening faster than it's ever happened. Let me ask you something. If you make a mistake, could you lose some money? If you make 5 mistakes, could you lose everything? So what's your strategy to make sure that you don't get hurt by this bad volatility? And how could you take advantage of all this good volatility? You got a strategy for that? Then I stop and I look at them and I say this. What I do is I help people to understand that those things that they perceive of as danger or bad things, if prepared for, are the opportunities of a lifetime. Would you like to take advantage of that for you and your family? What do you think they say? Of course. And you're the only people that can do it. You're the only people that can do it. 4 questions. That's all I do all day, everywhere I go. 4 questions. Holy moly. Listen, I have a whole bunch of sales. An hour goes so fast for me. Please, it was like I started 5 minutes ago. Thank you so much for sharing your afternoon. I'm going to read you something for 5 minutes because I want to send you out of here positive. Please, if you want to change your career, invest in your career. Come up and get the CDs. If you don't have time now, you can get them online at vanmiller.com, and we send them to you. We don't charge you to mail them to you. I want to help you. Do you see this? I'm freaking out. I want to show you over my head. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages of sales ideas. You guys never give me enough time to share them with you. 6 pages, and they're all no-brainer killer. Let me ask you real quick. I got to do this, even if I go over a minute. Let me ask you, anybody ever said this sentence to you? If everything's going to be so bad, how do I know the insurance companies are going to be okay? Ever have that said to you? What do you say? Don't argue with them. When you're in trouble in a sales presentation, what should you do? Ask a question. Here's the question. Have you ever heard of Ben Bernanke?
Yes.
Ben Bernanke was the head of the Federal Reserve. What's the Federal Reserve the head of? All the banks, aren't they?
Correct.
So they print all the money, they do all the stuff. I got one simple question for you. Where's Ben Bernanke have most of his money?
Annuities.
No, he does not. You said it wrong. And I'll show you why. I'm an 80-year-old lady. I walk into the bank. You said it perfectly. But you walk into the bank, comes up to the teller. The bank sells her an annuity. Where does she think annuities come from? So you have to say he has it in annuities inside of insurance companies. What's the next question you ask? Watch, this is what they call a juxtaposition. It makes the sale. Ready? How come he doesn't have all of his money in CDs? He's in the head of the banks. He's got his money in annuities inside of insurance companies. He doesn't have any CDs. By the way, where does he have the other 20% of his money? Canadian government bonds. Guys, I got 6 pages of those. Every answer to every question somebody will ask you, and all you got to do is turn around and ask them questions. I'm going to close with this. Ed, please, on the life insurance CD, there's a sales idea at the end of it that will show you how to have $6 million. I have $6 million a year of annually recurring premium, where the customer calls me every year and says, Van, are we going to do that same thing we did again last year? That's wholesale. That doesn't impress you? Then on the end of the annuity one, there's a split annuity, but a hybrid split annuity. And at the end of both of those, you say, if that's all there was, you should buy this right now. But that's not all there is, because my plan doesn't have to go through probate. My plan is incontestable and private. My plan can be controlled from the grave. My plan has creditor protection, and my plan has Medicaid versatility. Here's what I'm closing with. Life insurance is the world's safest industry. There's an account that yields 5 to 6 times more than long-term CDs, has guaranteed returns in most cases, does not have to be reported to the IRS, can be accessed anytime without penalty, and lets you retire 100% income tax-free. Almost no one knows how wonderful these plans are, because the government places tight restrictions on the advertising of these accounts, even though they are 100% legal. Why are they secret? Who uses these accounts? Well, President Kennedy used the account. Franklin D. Roosevelt had $562,000 of cash value in his whole life policy, equivalent to $7 million in today's dollars. John McCain funded his presidential election out of his cash value of his life insurance, the most wasted money in the history of man. Bankers, Wall Streeters, Fortune 1000 executives use these accounts. Listen to this. Money managers on Wall Street who manage equity funds, 51% of them don't have a cent in their equity fund, have enormous amounts of cash value life insurance. You think they want anybody to know that? Of course not. Most own cash value life insurance. Banks own $140 billion of cash value. Bank America has more money in cash value, $18.5 billion, than all the value of its 5,600 branches in the second tallest building in Manhattan, which are equivalent to $10.9 billion. Citibank has $4.5 billion of cash value in life insurance. JP Morgan, $9.8 billion. Wells Fargo, $19.3 billion. And according to the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the largest 38 banks in America have all invested over $100 billion into permanent life insurance. Wall Street Journal says the account has become a tax shelter for the rich. It gives the affluent the advantages or tax advantages far beyond those available to middle income people through a 401k or IRA. Here's what I say to poor people in middle income. I say, how come you're not taking advantage of the same things that the rich people are taking advantage of? That's the transition sentence. Boom! You take what sounds like an exclusionary sentence and you turn it into something that is inclusionary. The government places tight controls and restrictions on the advertising of cash value life insurance accounts because they can't make a dime off of them. Once the money goes in there, accumulates without current taxation, pays your retirement, income tax free as long as you live, and when you die, do you have to pay taxes on the death benefit? Man, do you think they want anybody to know that? You have the greatest vehicle ever created in the mind of a human being, and even you don't know it. I'll bet you there's 50% of you in here that don't own a whole life cash value and policy. Go home and get one, and then show everybody you got one. Who uses these? Walt Disney. There's no Disneyland without Walt Disney having cash value life insurance. J.C. Penney borrowed $3 million in the Great Depression from the cash value in his life insurance policy, turned it into a $3.4 billion company. Ray Kroc, there's no McDonald's without the cash value from his life insurance. The Rothschild family, Doris Christopher from Pampered Chef, the Rockefeller family. You have to understand. Fortune 1000 companies, I can't think of his first name, Welch from GE, Jack Welch. His pension plan is paid out of cash value life insurance, and GE's happy to do it, and they can't wait till he dies, because then what happens? They get all their money back, and they get it back income tax free. It's one of the greatest products of all time. Now I'm going to send you a little scary note, and then I'm going to send you on your way. By the end of the decade, the internal buildup of life insurance and annuities will probably be taxed on an accrual basis. Government needs money desperately. I'll even make you a bet. The death benefit, over $250,000, will be taxable by the end of the decade. They're going to need the money. So if you guys just think it's okay to just show up, pay your dues, not bring anybody else in, then you're going to see that happen faster than you could ever dream of. The thing I was trying to get you to understand is I want you to please sell as many of these as you can possibly get your hands on. Roth IRAs will be gone by the end of the decade. Only people that have them will get to keep them. There won't be any new ones sold. So anyway, here's how I'm going to close. One of my favorite groups of all time is the Beatles. I just love them. Every time I go to Vegas, I was just there. I was at the Mirage and I saw the show Love. And I cry like a baby through most of it. The music just touches me. And we were thinking about hiring Mr. Martin, who's the fifth Beatle, the guy that does all the electronics and stuff, and he's the creator of Love, to speak at the $1 Million Roundtable, because he says this about all of you. Listen to what he says about you. He said, like love, do we care if somebody's nose is a bit crooked or their face a bit wrinkled? He said, no. He said the power to move people to laughter, to tears, to violence, the ability to inspire people to take action is the most powerful attribute any human being can have. And that's what you all do for a living. You change the world one appointment at a time, and don't you ever underestimate it. There are plenty of people out there who you think you're just another person, but to that person, they think you're the world. Go out there, make a difference, be proud that you're a member of NAIFA, go home with your chest busting out with pride, and deliver the message that we are there to serve. The secret of happiness is not about what you get, it's about what you give. Be a proud NAIFA member. Thanks for being here.